guys, Tony here, telling you exactly how I landed my first SDR tech sales role while still in university in Ireland, working for an American company, fully remote. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Tony. I recently broke into tech sales about 4 months ago while still in university in my final year studying business. And yeah, for the first 2 months, I was going to college pretty 8 a.m. to 2, hopping on the phones and dialing from 2 to 11 p.m. because I was working American hours. Getting in, I had no tech sales experience or no college degree at the time, and got the job with resilience, hunger, and not being afraid to look like a fool. And background, I'd failed about 40, 50 interviews for big tech companies, the likes of Salesforce, HubSpot, Google, Oracle. I wanted to start now while still in college. I didn't want to wait to accelerate my career. And they all said, listen, mate, come back to us when you're finished uni. You won't be able to do it. It's too much effort. And I said, right, flip this. I am going to go hunt after a job. I'd failed about, as I said, 40, 50 interviews. My friends thought I was a crazy. My parents thought I was a complete idiot, thinking this dude can't get an interview after failing 40 of them. Is there something wrong with him? Literally laughing. And anyways, spoke to all my mentors and people on LinkedIn and started posting about how I was going about getting the job. And the one question I started asking everybody was, who is the best sales manager in the world? Cristiano Ronaldo isn't going to go play for Ipswich Town. He's going to go play for Real Madrid, United, the top boys, right? So that's how I wanted to start my sales career, learning from the best sales manager possible so I could accelerate my career and make as much money as possible. Now is a learning season, not an earning season, but I know that if I start right and if you start right, you will dominate in the future. So yeah, every sales manager pointed me to one company, to one dude, and I was thinking, what the hell is going on in this company? I need to find out about this. Nobody else has really been recommended bar this one dude. So I said, right, I locked on my target, and a mistake that a lot of people make is they spray and pray. I locked on to one target and I said, I will do whatever I can to get this job. I don't care. I will spend hours to get this job because I know that you reap what you sow, and it will pay off. Years down the line, I'm going to look back on this with awe, and I still do look at how I went after this job. So what I did, I hit up every single SDR in the company, any VP of sales, I hit up the COO, I hit up everyone, I hit the CEO, I hit up every single person in the company. And actually I didn't hit up the CEO. But anyways, a lot of them got back to me, and I would always ask them the question, I really want this job. Everyone's telling me I have to work for you guys. What would you do in my situation? One of the guys got back to me and said, listen, this is a real hustler kind of attitude, hustler company. You're just going to have to cold call the manager because that's what the job is. That's what he wants. I got the phone number and I called him. I said, hey, mate, what's up? I'm Tony. You're not expecting the call here. I'm calling from Ireland. And yeah, I see you have a job there. I just applied for it. I'd love to interview for it. And he says, why the hell would you want to work for us out in Tennessee? We're a bunch of cowboys. And I said, because everybody I talk to says I have to go work for you. Everybody says you're the biggest sales stud in the universe. And I said, I will do whatever I can to work for you because there's obviously a reason why everyone's talking about you. He said, right, you've sold me. Let's meet next week. We're going to do a mock call. So, bang, interview sorted in 10 seconds. And then for the next week, I did whatever I could to prepare for that mock call with him. It was going to be a role play, me and him on an interview, and he'd run through it. So, got to the interview. And yeah, in preparation, what I did was I did mock calls with everybody in the company that would do mock calls with me. So again, hit them up on LinkedIn, said, listen, I got the interview. What should I do? What's going on? Did mock calls with them. Did some reps on AI. And yeah, showed up to the interview thinking I was the absolute shit. Genuinely, thinking I was class, and he sent me this. He sent me the script. Said, right, let's go. Right there and then. And I got given the script. Absolutely shat myself. I hadn't prepared properly, really. I thought I was the absolute dog's bollocks, but I was horrific. Completely and utterly horrific. He gave me a little rejection or objection of sending me an email. I shot the bed, and then he wanted to see how coachable I was. So he gave me, I don't know, one piece of advice, which was like drive it more, and just be yourself, to see how I would take that on and if I was coachable. And I listened to every word he said. I took it on board, and I improved about, let's say, 30%. I went from very bad to bad. And he said, right, cool. Let's do it again next week. End of scene. And he obviously asked me some normal interview questions, whatever, prior. And I was like, right, whoever the hell this dude is, I am going to go work for him. You know, when someone just has that spark, that energy. Yeah, if you know, you know. And anyways, I realized how much I wanted to work for them after this. And then for that week, I spent about 6 hours a day doing mock calls with everybody I could. Now I had the script, so I was using the script, doing 100 dials a day on Hyperbound AI in order to prepare, doing mock calls again with everybody on the team, hounding these people to do mock call with me, posting about it on LinkedIn. I got thousands and thousands of impressions on my posts about how I was going after this job while still in college and everything. And yeah, hundreds of people in my DMs. And I literally ended up probably doing 100 role plays with different account executives, SDRs, BDR managers, calling them. They would send me my number on LinkedIn and I would call them and do a mock call with them. They'd all give me pointers. Everyone was so helpful because they could see that I actually wanted it. And then bang, comes, funnily enough, because obviously I'm posting about this all on LinkedIn. It's getting a lot of interactions. It's getting a fuckload of views, that me talking about how I'm preparing for this interview. And I'm talking to every single person in the company. The CEO then, obviously, people talk, is this Irish guy? Who is that guy? Conor McGregor. So obviously they're talking like, who is this dude? And anyways, the CEO ends up replying to one of my posts, big LinkedIn guru geezer, and says, why didn't you just go straight to the top? Because I didn't go to him, I went to everyone else because I thought, oh yeah, CEOs don't reply. And then, ended up getting in his DMs, and he actually ended up doing a role play with me himself, the CEO of the company, which was insane. And yeah, so did that, practiced like an absolute hound. The sales manager had a live cold calling show. So basically him live cold calling and seeing exactly how I did it. I watched that for about an hour every night like a complete psycho and just absorbed it. And all the mannerisms and the American things that he said, I completely copied them. I was sounding like an American. But yeah, I got better and better every day by putting in about 8 hours of preparation. And then what happened? So yeah, I'd be reading the script all day long, all day reading the script, doing role plays, doing the AI. And yeah, I actually got quite decent. I knew every objection off by heart. Anything you said, I knew what to say. And it got to the final round interview. And the final round interview, which was quite wild, was a live mock call session with everybody on the team on a Zoom call. So you had about 8 of the SDRs, you had the COO, you had the head of sales, whatever, all on a call, ready to take the absolute piss out of some scared young fella trying to get in with an Irish accent. And yeah, did them all, smashed every single one of them. I mean, I was so prepared. And yeah, got offered the job. But it was only a trial, obviously. So I finally got offered the job and showed up. First day, laptop broke. Dialing isn't working. I'm completely shitting myself. I'm out of my depth. These guys are genuinely savage sales reps. Probably the best SDR team in the world, I would say. And it was completely embarrassing. Laptop shits the bed. I finally get the call and I'm absolutely awful. Like, awful. I get hung up on about 90% of the time. I am a complete and utter crap show. And I'm thinking, right, these guys are going to fire me any day. Because it is one of those ruthless companies whereby they fire people immediately. I seen someone get fired a day into the job because they just didn't have it. But I kept showing up. I ensured that I was the first person on my trial week or whatever, trial few weeks to see if they wanted me, that I was the first person there every single day, prepared scripts for an hour or 2 hours before, and probably not a good idea, but I literally dialed from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. every single day, no break, maybe run to the shop 20 minutes to get food. I didn't take breaks. And yeah, I just absorbed it. I would come to work with literally like 20 questions. I remember one weekend I was preparing and I sent into the Slack group chat about 20 questions into the group, and I got a DM from one of the lads. He was like, mate, great initiative and all, but like people are literally going to think there's something wrong with you. So maybe just send them to people in DMs. And I was like, okay, right, cool. But anyways, I kept sticking in there. But to be honest, 2 months in, they hadn't fired me, but I was still awful. Like I was really, really bad. And just kept plugging away, getting a little bit better, and bang, I started getting through and not getting hung up on. And this party was about 2 months ago, and then it kind of just went like this, and bang, and now it's like this. And yeah, haven't got fired, making 50k base, $5 per completion, working from wherever I want in the world, learning from the best sales reps in the world. And yeah, that's how I did it. So yeah, I mean, this isn't going to apply to every job you're applying for, but I think you get the message. If you really, truly go after it, and you show that and do everything you can and you pull all the levers, you will get the job. And if you don't get the job doing that, then that is not the sort of company or person, sales manager, that you want to be working for, that doesn't appreciate somebody that is willing to put their balls on the line. And final thing that I did was, before meeting the CEO for the mock calls, for the 4 days prior, before bed, for about an hour or two, I watched his podcast, and then like mentioned things in the podcast that he was mentioning. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, oh yeah, I seen that in your podcast and that was cool. And obviously he knew that I'd watched it and all this, and I mentioned it and I said I watched every episode, whatever. And also another thing that I did was, the sales manager posted a fitness challenge and said like, oh yeah, I'll give someone 20 quid if they do this. Obviously no one on LinkedIn did it, because there are a lot of people that are full of talk on LinkedIn. But I did it anyways. It was like basically a really heavy leg day to max out on all the compounds, and in between them then you'd go for like a 1 mile run or something on a treadmill. And I did it anyways, and in the interview I brought that up and I said like, I'm training for a marathon, he's into marathons, and bang. So yeah, this is what I did. Now I'm living in London. Just spent 3 weeks in Valencia. Probably going to pop off to New York in August. And yeah, I put in the effort, sowed the seeds, and it really paid off. And I think, I mean, I'm looking back on myself 4 or 5 months ago when I was hustling to get this job in absolute awe. And I hope you can do the same. And I hope to look back on myself at current in 3 months' time, 2 months' time, in a year's time, and just look back and think, my God, am I proud of my future or past self for what I did. So yeah, something that I like to, final thing, something I always like to think about is, what would myself, if myself was in the room over there, at the other end of the room, myself 6 months down the line, and he was there and he could see me right now, what would he be screaming at me to do? Like, what would yourself 6 months down the line be screaming at you right now? You need to do this. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, appreciate it. I hope you got some value from this. And yeah, if you want something, you either go after it or you don't. You either do or you don't. It's very simple. You either are or you aren't. If you know, you know.